Alright, there we go. Okie dokie. I'm a bit annoyed this morning because the DJI mics that I just started using yesterday didn't charge overnight, so I don't know whether I've done something wrong or something there. They're now charging, but yeah, I've had to revert to the stupid Sennheiser things. Absolute nightmares. I hate these so much. They are like legitimately one of the worst damn products out there for this. It's awful. You know, they suck so much. But, you know, what can you do? So today's adventures are going to be pretty simple. Nothing too crazy. Get out of the menu, you. Thank you. Yeah. Fixing synths. Got stuff for synthesizers. Parts that arrived yesterday, which is good. Including one that came all the way from the US because Sequential now have no distributor in Australia. They were bought by Focusrite, and unfortunately Focusrite decided to start doing direct distribution and various other things. They like closed up their local offices or something here. I don't know. It's an absolute nightmare. Logged into my kid's account apparently. Well done. Come on. Okay, so this one is a pretty simple repair that just requires a hell of a lot of waiting for parts to come in from, there we go, to come in from the US. Now I'm going to just mess with these because this is clipping for some reason again. Yeah, I'm set there, so... Alright, let's try that again and go into filters there. Let's pull the compressor down a little bit. Alright, so let's see if that minimizes the yeah, so it goes right into clipping and that's alright. Well, see, this isn't the legendary synth. This is the bastardized later version that a lot of synth snobs absolutely hate. Yeah, if it was an original Prophet 5, like any of the original Revs or even the modern Rev 4, then yeah, definitely. Like, these aren't bad units in any way, shape or form. They sound pretty cool. I like them. But interesting thing about, for example, this keyboard and various other things, right? You see this brand name here? This is actually something I'm working on a video about because this actually has a link to Yamaha, and I was doing some reading and some research on some other topics and that, and came across information about like the way Yamaha have done business over the years. So, for example, when Sequential Circuits wasn't doing too great and they went out of business, Yamaha purchased them, right? They purchased them, they didn't do anything with the brand, but they owned the trademark and they kept it going, right? So it sat there dormant for years. Of course, Dave Smith started Dave Smith Instruments and started making various things like the Mofo and all that kind of stuff. And what ended up happening from that was, you know, the trademark sat there unused, and he wanted to bring in new products like the Rev and various other things. Yamaha owned the trademark, and they actually just gave it to him. Like, oh yeah, here you go, have the trademark. And so that's why now you've got Sequential, the company that kicked on. Because Yamaha just gave up. Just, it was like, yeah, here you go. Have the trademark back. And that goes hand in hand with what they did as well with Korg. So Korg back in the 80s was not doing well at all. They were struggling, right? They made a couple of bad decisions. They were over leveraged. So Yamaha bought them out. They basically pumped a bunch of money into the company and allowed the company to continue on. That's why if you crack open a couple of Yamaha products of the era, for example, they made pedals and stuff like that, and they were actually, oh, sorry, I just got a delivery. Attic. I cannot see it. Yep.
Prince one?
Thank you.
Have a good day, man.
You too, mate.
Right.
Wah! Everything's falling over. Sorry about that, random delivery. Yeah, back to Uncle Six's story time. Yeah, so if you crack open a couple of products of Yamaha of the era, so pedals and stuff, you actually find Korg part designators in there because they were actually designing some of the products and making them for Yamaha. That's how they got back through. But what happened was that Yamaha kept pumping money in them, kept keeping them going, got them through to the 90s when the company was starting to hit it real big with a bunch of their synths that were coming out. And what ended up happening was Yamaha let the original owner buy the company back. So yeah, like it is actually kind of interesting. Like Yamaha is this focal point of so many different brands, and like they're almost like the anti-Behringer. They're the good guys of the music industry. So they've always done good stuff for other brands so they've got links to other companies, including of course Kawai, because the original guy who started Kawai, Kawai-san, actually learnt under Yamaha's founder, and that's why they were both located in Hamamatsu in Japan. So there was this like almost like fraternal type thing that Yamaha have done. And yeah, today I was jumping online and sorting some stuff out because they've got their Yamaha in Hamamatsu at their head office. They've got the Yamaha Innovation Road, which is like their museum thing. So you go in there and you can see like some of their very first ever products, including old organs and pianos and the likes from the late 1890s and onwards, stuff they did in the 50s and 60s, like classic vintage synths as well from the 70s and 80s. And yeah, it'll be actually really quite interesting to kind of see how that goes. Yeah, so I'm actually, Brad, I got to speak to you about that because I'm currently teeing up some of those tours and experiences and that. So let's chat so we can check them out because the Yamaha one is sick. Yeah, cool. Crack that up. Look at all that empty space inside of there. This is how they get the drugs into the festivals. They crack one of these open. There you go. Put a solid stack of molly in there. Yeah, I've already removed the old power supply because unfortunately on this design they used a really stupid Meanwell open frame power supply in a very uncommon voltage. So instead of being like 12 volt or 15 volt or something like that, they have a 13.5 volt supply that unfortunately Meanwell have discontinued. So either Sequential / Focusrite has a massive stock of them to keep going because they haven't given like a revision update or a change to it or anything like that, but yeah. So yeah, that's your power supply right there. Little teeny tiny thing that cost an absolute arm and a leg, but that's the code there, which is the PS25-13.5. So 25 watt switch mode power supply that is 13.5 volts rated. What a pain in the ass. Yes, hello to all, and Let. The Yamaha RA amp with the spinny speakers. They are kind of cool. The only problem is that a lot of those ones also use those, the natural sound polystyrene speakers, the same ones they used in the Fender Bantam bass as well, the weird flat, like trapezoidal ones with the polystyrene cones, and they have a habit of exploding. They explode very, very well. So yeah, so good luck finding one that actually works and does its thing. Yeah, but the problem is the this particular series of them has been discontinued. So none of the other ones actually fit into these, which is a real pain in the derriere. Because I checked through the Meanwell website and actually spoke with Element 14 as well, because I got a rep there that I can speak to, and yeah, they had no real sort of things beyond you'll have to modify the unit or get the supply from sequential. So rather than messing around too much, I just went with them because they still had it as a part. So, So how's the audio going? I'm kind of speaking a bit lower because I had to use this stupid bloody mic setup again. It keeps going up into the red. I'm trying not to clip it too much, so yeah. Let me know how it goes. I actually just ordered a new little mixing desk / streaming unit for the bench. Yamaha are brilliant. I love Yamaha. I'm a Yamaha fanboy. I don't care. I'll say it. But they've got their AG series like streaming desks and that. It'll fit where I tell it. Yeah, but Yamaha do a series of streaming desks. So what they are is they're like little small analog mixer type things, a couple of channels, but like USB audio interface built into it as well. Not like the sort of cheapy ones that have like a 2-channel like stereo summed output, but actually individual outputs. So I just picked up one of those because being a Yamaha dealer, I can get some special pricing on that. And yeah, picked up one that it is 6-channel, so 2 mic / line ins plus 4 line ins as well, line outs and likes, and features for streaming and doing that kind of stuff, which means I can actually use it to mic up one of the mic up the bench cabinet, have my mic on here as well through it, as well as a stereo line in for testing these things, which I can also feed to the bench monitors on here, simplified all in one little small, like, you know, little mixing desk like that type thing. Absolutely sick little units. So yeah, that should hopefully arrive sometime in the next fortnight or so, because unfortunately, Yamaha, like many other companies, use 3PL for their logistics these days, and man, it takes absolutely forever for anything to leave. It is a real pain in the ass. Okay, so that there is dealt with on that side. In we go. I like it how they give enough slack to remove the entire top unit from it, but when you put them on, they kind of don't really have anything to sit on. What is my audio? So right now I'm just running really simple. Absolutely nothing sort of crazy, just a wireless lav. Normally I'd be using these things. So this is a DJI mic setup, which is quite cool. These are just connected directly to my overhead camera, which is a Canon XA60, which I can also do this wonderful thing. Hello, phone. Wake up. There we go. So if I turn on that there, I haven't set up scenes or anything, but I can actually use my phone for that. So up top there, I've got a Canon XA50. So that one's my primary overhead camera. That's my MacBook sitting on its little shelfy shelf there. Little overhead light there. Okay, Brad, you see that flickering that's happening right there? That is what will happen if you don't change your frame rate in Japan. Even if it's just a light in the background, it will do that to the entire image. It's an absolute headache. Yeah, so it's on a Manfrotto Magic Arm, which is on a little Neewer wall frame there, so I can swing it out where need be. So, for example, when I do I've got that thing down there, a Wurlitzer 200A. Once I do that, then I'll be able to like swing it out overhead and do that kind of thing. Yeah, my absolute mess of a bench. I've really got to organise this stuff properly, but I'm not as cool as Brad, so I can't I can't do that. My brain doesn't quite work in that way. One day maybe. But yeah, so we can bung that out of the way. When I do like videos where I'm more like talking or doing like talking head type stuff, then I'll either use, you know, the lav mic type setup, which works quite well, or I will use a shotgun mic overhead. Long story short, in a past life, I used to do some photography and videography, mainly photography. So yeah, just getting it all sorted so it works. And yeah, that's it. Slight bit of an EQ tweak, slight bit of compression on there. Yeah, nothing really kind of crazy all in all. Once I got the little mixing desk thing, it'll make it even better, so I'll be able to do more with that side of things. Now, let us see. Because that is one thing I will say, you know, people will put up with like potato quality visuals if the audio is good. Because, you know, even if we're not necessarily watching something, we're listening. You know, it's how we hear things. If you want any advice on any of that kind of stuff, hit me up. I'm more than glad to share my knowledge around wherever I can, being the dirty commie that I am. Yeah, a lot of this stuff, you can get really good stuff really quite cheap that works quite well. You don't have to spend big money, but a couple of little simple things really will help. Just simple lighting, simple bits and pieces to do that, and just a couple of little bits of technique as well. So knowing certain things like, your inverse square law, which is the same for audio as it is for lighting, and just applying it in the right kind of way, making sure you've got enough light in the scene, cameras. Yeah. If I'm doing something I want like an artistic look or something fancy or whatever, then what I can do is pull out the Sony. And if I wanted to do like a multicam type thing, I can do that with the current setup. Come on. Ugh. Silly leaf casing. Come on. There we go. Get in there. Get in there. There we go. My favourite screwdriver, this thing, because it's got the nice little knurled grip there, so I can just spin it around. Alright. That can go over that way. There we go. Cool. Alright, so now I should have power for that. Okay. It should come back to life, hopefully. No, you might luck, plug it in and it goes. Come on. Get in there. Get in. Yeah, that's fine. Get in the hole. Come on. There we go. Cool. Alright. That goes there. On the 240. Hey! Awesome. So we got that happening there. I'll get me some carbles. Left output. Just make sure everything's working the way it needs to. So I got to organise the bench better, because I inevitably knock it around. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm not a very organised person. Kind of goes with the whole ADHD thing and all the rest of that, and also being very time poor in general, and just not having staff, but still having a retail shop, a music tuition business, and doing these repairs. I am stretched way too thin. Oh, there we go. Alright, let's get some power up in there. Dunk. Alright. Yeah. Sweet. So everything seems to be back where it needs to be. Nice. 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 Cool. Alright, so that's all back as it needs to be. Now I get to put it all back together. Okie dokie. Where's my bag of screws? Screws. There we go. Screws galore. There we go. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Where's the wooden panels? Where'd I put them? There they are. Real mahogany. the student Wurlitzers. So that would have been like the 206 series ones with like the headphone outs and all that kind of stuff, but didn't have the vibrato on them. So the cool thing about the Wurlitzers, of course, is that they obviously use the electrostatic reeds and all that kind of stuff. And what makes them sound kind of cool is they're almost like a pure triangle wave with how they work. I do love the sound of a Wurlitzer. What I don't love, however, is how expensive they've gotten. Orgy, oh, I remember that band. Classic one-hit wonders in the finest sense. Riding the new metal / industrial wave that was happening at that time. Being a a metalhead goth kid of the era, of course I was all about it. But come here. Oh, that's right. That's not it. But yeah, I did like Fiction, Dreams in Digital. That was a good song. Early '80s, yeah, God. Long before my time. I wasn't even a glint in the milkman's eye by that point. I like working on old electric pianos. They're kind of cool. So I've got the one down the bottom there that is the 200A. So I've got the Warneck Research replacement board on the way for that one. Customer wants it all nicely done because that one's for studio use and all that. I've also got a Hammond C3 that I've got to sort out because that one's actually mine. I've got to sell it. I have no use for it. Not exactly known as a big keyboard player, despite how much I'd like to be. I'm just a guy who enjoys them. They're kind of cool. Yeah. I had to look at a Juno 106 once, but couldn't find out the issue. Yeah, I mean, synths, especially like those ones there, that you've got to know a couple of different systems and things. So you've got to know analog. So you've got to know, obviously, how the solid-state analog and all the rest of that works. Then you've also got to understand 80s digital computing and tracing stuff like how the converters and the likes are working, because obviously the controls on the front and that are all being done that way, and it's all being done via data buses and yada yada yada. Then you've also got to understand like oscillator topology. So the 106s use a DCO, so the wave is made analog. However, the timing for how the wave is formed is done via digital pulses from the CPU. So that tells it, that sets the frequency of how it's going to play. So yeah, I've got two of them down there. So I'm currently working on those, and then I've got one for sale in the shop that I did. They have 35 volts or something between the plates and the Wurlitzers. No, even more, 150 almost. They have a very, very high voltage, so they've got a separate tap on the transformer, and that allows it to have a very high voltage, and it works kind of like a supercharged version of like of a condenser microphone. So you've got this high static voltage there, and as you cause the reeds to blah, 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 throughout the system, it's creating, changes in capacitance and voltage, all that kind of fun stuff, and makes it a signal that can be picked up by a preamp and amplified further. That's what does it. What's cool about them versus, say, the Rhodes or the Hohner Pianettes or similar systems is because it is an electrostatic pickup, there's not any loading down as a result of magnetic pickups. So you're not actually hindering any of that vibration. So typically, even though the Wurlitzer reeds are very small, they've got a lot of sustain, so you can hit a note and it will ring out for a fair while. The envelope is quite strong, whereas the Rhodes and similar will go whoop and then die off somewhat quickly. They're very big to start, but then the momentum of the strings and the inertia of the tines will carry them onwards because the tines have a fair bit of weight to them. Come on, get in there. Not a fan of these screws just going into, mild steel. Ugh. You have a tube version for sale. The amp isn't ideal or it's ailing. Ah, so like an ancient old, like a 147 or like a 112 or something. I have worked on those. They're interesting. They're very lo-fi, kind of crunchy. No one wants them though, which is unfortunate because they have a unique sound. Everyone wants a 200. They want a 200A because they want to sound like Supertramp or Queen. But yeah, the old like 147s, I think it is, and the 112s, the 120s, I think it is. They were cool. They sounded good, but yeah, the old tube preamps that are a bit of a nightmare to work on. They're not the easiest things. It's been a long time since I actually worked on it. It's probably been about 8 or 9 years since I last worked on one of that sort of era. Okay, there we go. And we go. Okay, that one there. Put some wood panellings on the side. Zzz. Nice. Excellent. Yeah. Well, I mean, with those like old tube amps, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think that they also do some replacement ones for them that you can drop in to replace the old tube-based amps. Because the guts of them is fine. Like, they're less refined than what the 200 and the 200As are. But yeah, you've got to do a bit of work. Got to do a bit of work to them to get them kind of in a playable state. I reckon at some point those things are going to be worth big money as people go, oh, I can get one of those cheap and they sound kind of cool. So, oh yeah, that works. Inevitably, it's always the way it goes. Yeah, they find the next version of something, oh yeah, that's sweet, oh yeah, I want that one. And then the prices start going up as everyone flocks to go get them, and they're no longer cheap anymore. Oh, come on, you damn thing. Vintage Vibe, yep, that sounds all right. Because I know Vintage Vibe do a preamp as well, kit for, a replacement kit for the 200 and 200A. Didn't know if couldn't remember if they did the one for the old tube-based ones too. Because yeah, I was tossing up between the Warneck and the Vintage Vibe ones for this customer. I went with the Warneck because it's a bit more, original sounding. But also with Warneck, they actually respond to my emails and let me know that they do have wholesale pricing available for repairers and retailers. So that is a plus, because I'd much rather not have to either not make money on the parts or have to charge the customer more for it. But then again, part of it is doing the whole thing to get parts, and it takes time to find them and order them and all that. So hoping for a few grand. I mean, potentially. I don't know what it's like where you are, but I know here in Australia, some of them can go for that kind of money, but others not even close. Depends on the weird one. It depends on how weird it is and whether someone goes, oh yeah, I want that. Was that? No. Thought someone was at my door, but they're not, thankfully. Because I'm not answering anything because I am closed. Today is repair day. Repair and chats. That's what it's about. Nice little fireside chat or something like that. Except no fire. It's summer. Even though you wouldn't know it with half of how this summer's been. It's been like, here is a bunch of insane heat. Now, here's a bunch of like just, raininess and slightly chilled. The day before yesterday was absolutely horrendous. And then yesterday was kind of nice and cool and that, and now today it's raining. Go fig. You'd almost think like the climate was changing or something. Possibly. Okay, so that one's done. Next one is this. Come on. Come hither. All right. Got a Yamaha PSRE 363 that has a smashed PCB. I think this was actually one I looked at on stream the other week. Ordered the parts, been waiting on them to arrive. There we go. Gush over Yamaha a little bit more. They're the Toyota of musical instruments. Parts like these go back like 5 or 6 generations. They don't change them if they don't have to. So I can get parts with quite some ease, which is nice. I like that. It's not like some companies that like Roland that change everything every like 2 or 3 years, and then you can't get parts for them, and they don't want anything to do with you. Come on. As always, hand tools. On something like a P series, I might use a drill to get them out because, man, there are so many screws in those things. I was working on a Kurzweil K2600X the other week. That took like 20 minutes just to get the top panel off. There were so many screws and bits and pieces. Magic little stick. I love this thing. It's like an old car aerial. It has a magnet on the end. I can stick it where I need to and grab screws rather than having to mess around. Okay, that can go there, that can go there. So I've got 8 people watching and I've got 6 likes. Well, if you haven't already, please do hit the like button or dislike button, whatever. I don't care. They both work well in my favour. If you haven't subscribed, of course, hit the subscribe button because I'm trying to make some money out of this. And because, obviously I enjoy it. And if I can make money out of it as well, then I can pretend to be a, Sigma grind set bro. Make money out of all of my hobbies. Nah, not really. I'm not that bad, but it would be good because, the joys of being in business as it goes up and down, and you got to try and diversify where your income comes from. It's not like I can sit back and rely now for the next couple of months on big, massive amounts of sales because we're now at the quietest time of the year. Once we get past kind of Australia Day, it's a barren wasteland for about 3 months or so. Especially now with all of the economic headwinds, people aren't spending huge volumes of cash at the moment. They're saving for things. School's about to go back. Nobody wants to, shell out a big amount of money on a nice guitar or a synth or something like that. So they are coming in, though, to see us for repairs because stuff gets balked and they want it fixed. Cool. Sometimes it works out better than, say, for example, getting a whole replacement unit. It's like, oh, it might cost me $1,000 to get a new, amplifier or whatever, but if I spend like $400 or $500 on this one, I might get it back. Well, it's not just Australia. It's everywhere. It's the terrible part of it. It's Amazon. It's the Amazon syndrome, right? The prices keep going down until there's no competition left, and then customers have this expectation that prices are always like that. For example, shipping, right? Everyone wants free shipping. I can't do free shipping, not at all. Free shipping on something like a guitar is hella expensive, man. Like, that is not cheap. If I want to send a guitar from here to Brisbane, even with like my shipping rates, it's still like $25-30, right? $25-30 is a lot when you're selling like a $400 guitar. That's almost like 8% of your that's like 8% of your revenue gone in one fell swoop. The big guys, they can absorb those costs, not a problem. Us little guys, nah. Customers don't understand that though. Customers want it free and they want it this because, oh, big company XYZ does it. Okay, cool. Go to them then. That's why I've like started transitioning the business away from the new things into more of the secondhand and the vintage. And I'm going to keep going until I become boutique and high-end because in that instance, there's margin there. And the customers who want stuff are a little bit more, a little bit more realistic about kind of what they want. So they're not going to kind of break balls over super cheap type stuff. I'd love to be able to keep doing what I did and showing customers, great bits of kit at great value because I know what it was like for that. But, the big guys have made it so that you can't anymore. One of the biggest distributors in the country has bought up a number of retailers. So it's just kind of doing it. Why is Alex whining? He's not whining. I'm the whiner. It's all right. We'll teach him a couple of tricks. Get him going that way. All right. Let's get rid of these. This is definitely one of the worse keyboards I've seen. Somehow, inevitably, they always come in and they're covered in like oodles of goobs and gobs of various fluids and greases, which get caught up with cat hair, which gets caught up with dead bugs, and you know, it is not pleasant for sure. This one, nah, just a bit of conformal coating on there. Thought there was something going on with the PCB, but nope. Yeah, I'll hang around until about 12:30 because I've got a rep coming along for a chit chat and I need to cover some bases with them regarding the future of how I'm going to run things, because yeah, it's not quite going to go the way that people are hoping. Now, I'll just quickly insert. Go. Nice. Okay. Dead PCB here. Disconnect from underneath. Come on. Come on. Ugh. Come on. There you mofo. There we go. There's a great little tool that I have here. So this is actually a flathead screwdriver that has been cut, bent, and modified. Was sold by Vintage Vibe for tuning Rhodes pianos, but I also use it as a lever. This is actually what I use when I've got to like raise the height of a Les Paul bridge. I basically have a little shim that I put underneath it to protect the finish, and then I can put it underneath the bridge and leverage it up that way and then use the thumb wheel so I don't have to fight with it. Adapt, overcome, all that stuff. And when I'm doing things like these, I can just use it as like a little lever, and it allows me to get the components out as I need. You. Does the new board have the sticky goober on there, or do I have to attach it again? I can't remember. I think I have to attach it. Please don't tell me I have to attach it. Where did I put those parts? I am forever losing everything, because that is how my brain is wired. Not there, not there. Seriously, where did I put it? Ah, there it is. Cool. Cool. All right, there we go. Yes, Amazon are a nightmare, ergo I no longer sell on there. Gave it a shot and it worked really well, but then what happens is they artificially throttle the algorithm to knock you out, to force you into paying a whole bunch of money for advertising and all that kind of stuff, and then they want you to do their fulfilled by Amazon type stuff. They're a parasite company, and I'm glad that they're not succeeding in Australia in the way that they'd hoped. However, I would really like to see it if they collapsed in their entirety, but, you know, that would take some kind of absolute gusto from companies. Dude, like, seriously, if you want, man, send an amp up here to Sydney and I will do a tones and teardowns on it and give my honest opinion. You know, I have absolutely no qualms in having people send things that I can check out and do that. And even with products that I am a dealer for, or have been a dealer for in the past, I'm honest about them. You know, I have absolutely no moral scruples whatsoever. Well, actually, I have moral scruples. I have no moral conundrum with a company paying me to review their product and sending it to me, but I will not sign a script. I will not sign a thing that says you have to say this or you aren't allowed to disparage a product. I will be brutally blunt and honest, and I will take money out of their pocket all that time, because why not? But for you, I'll do it for free. Nah, I say, I'm sure your stuff is perfectly cromulent. You know, it's not like some of the other stuff that we see out here from the other, you know, Aussie amp makers that are absolutely terrible, or even in general. I mean, Brad knows about that. When you get up the, you know, when you raise the hackles of a bunch of online cork sniffers who get annoyed at the fact that you did something oh so terrible as to say that an amp that sells in Australia for like $6,000 to $7,000 is built to a degree that should not attach such a price point. Yeah. I don't care what they got to say. Okay, yep, so I'm going to have to peel that off the bottom. How annoying. Okay. That one goes there, that one goes there. Let us... You're going to make me take that off, aren't you? Damn it. Stay. Speaking of Aussie amp builders and similar type things, there's a guy who owns, well, a company, I've never heard of them, but apparently they exist, they basically jumped online and registered the trademark for Golden Tone amps. So another Aussie amp company, long since discontinued. They bought up the brand name to that and all that kind of jazz, and now they're trying to sell it. So they want to sell the brand name because I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I don't know how much they want, but I'm honestly kind of tempted to message them about it because, you know, I'd like to bring some of these old Aussie amps back to market and make them a bit better. But if they want any kind of stupid money beyond maybe like a case of beer and a good luck handshake, then I'm probably not going to want to deal with it because, you know, it's not like they've already built the brand and shown, here it is again, oh, it's back, you know, Golden Tone's back in POG form. It's not how it's gone, you know. Come on. Oh, we're doing this, are we? Come on. There we go. And besides, Brad, it's not about the size of the tool, it's how you use it, you know? Just ask anyone who's had to do, like, micro-soldering. It's insane. I would not want to be working on iPads and iPhones and Android devices and all that kind of stuff. That terrifies me. That's a hard no. Cool, alright. That's removed. Now let's transfer over some ribbon cables. Doop. Alright, cool. Yeah, Yamaha is brilliant. You know, even being a service agent for them, they pay their bills on time. They give me documents. That's all I ask for. You know, let me fix your customers' products, and I will. I will make money, and I will keep your customers happy, who will come back and buy them yet again. Come on. Damn thing. Come on, let go. Stupid thing. Okay. Sweet. Alright, cable's in there. And then that one can go into here. Yep. There's a reason why I don't go on forums. I'm on Facebook groups because they're funny. But forums are like, they're just awful, man. Like, seriously. Forums are like filled with the worst people, with the worst opinions and the loudest voices out there. They don't know what they're talking about, but they say it so confidently that you just can't get them to shut up. It's terrible. It's terrible, Muriel. There we go. Cool. Alright. Sweet. That one goes in there. That one goes in like so. Board goes that way. And now, cool. Excellent. just getting and absolutely shitting all over each other, huh? Yeah, having an opinion online is a dangerous thing unless you have a very, very thick skin and a bigger cudgel than they do. Someone like me, I'm well known for my outspoken, you know, I will just say things side of things. Sometimes, oftentimes to my detriment, but, you know, it is what it is. Alright. Wiggy up. Come here, you damn thing. Is there anything more exciting than watching a guy putting screws into a PCB? That one goes there as well. Okay. Actually, just the delivery I just got before as well with some what's these got a KRK VXT6 that I had to repair because it went literally, like all the caps inside swelled up hugely. And it turned out that the tweeter had gone completely bad, like the framing and housing for it had gone bad. So thankfully the local distributor had one in stock, so I'll get that installed today as well. So yep, gotta love burner accounts. You don't know what you're talking about. I've had this for ages and it's brilliant, and this person online said that they're absolutely excellent. And who am I going to trust? Them, who has no technical knowledge but has a really, really polished background on his YouTube video, or you? You know. It do be like that sometimes. It's like you get into arguments with like people on Facebook or other things. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. So, you know, you're saying these kinds of things, but that's not true. And here's my, you know, reasoning why. Oh, but I've also got this reason. Blah, 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 blah. It's like everything you just said was full of shit, man. What the hell? I don't know. Ah, Brendan, he's back. How's it going, mate, over there in the sunny lands of WA? That goes there, that goes there, so yep. Long one and then short one. The long and the skinny, as it were. Previously employed by the company in question. Nice. Alright. Now getting these things back in, that's fun. But thankfully that's why I got these you know, Bondus, they're rounded head Allen key. So Allen key on a shtick, often sold for like guitar related stuff and that, but what they're good for is poking the Duvalackers, the contact strips on these units back in place. Because they're rounded on the end, instead of being like a paperclip that's like really, really like sharp, because they're rounded over, they push it through and they minimize the chance of it breaking. How's that for a macro shot? You can see all the terrible, terribleness on my fingers. Hot and boring. Came for the silly voice impersonations. Mate. Glad to see it. Just depends on what next I'll decide I'll get into a rant about and start impersonating. I know, it feels like a Richard Nixon kind of day. Yeah, we got there, isn't that one there, isn't that one? Yeah, cool, alright, here we go, there we go. Push it in, like so. Can't get in the hole, you bay bastard. Stay. A customer comes in and goes, oh, I've got this keyboard and there's something wrong with the contact and it's not working right. Okay, yep, cool. The part's like $20, the labor's 120 to 150. Oh, what do you mean? Why? I know, you ever had to sit there with a little teeny tiny tool poking little nubbins of plastic in through there hoping they don't tear? It's not exactly a quick and easy job, unfortunately. Things like this take time. Not necessarily skill, but time. And to replace this thing. Did I? Oh, you mofo. Okay. Let's try that again. So that, right, yeah. Herg derp. Remember, kids, make sure you know which one goes where. Okay. In we go, in we go. So, yeah, the other gentleman who's in here, Brendan, he is also another awesome repairer who sells some really, really cool vintage stuff. So he's got HCR Electronics over in WA, over there in Perth. Sells some cool shit, works on some really cool stuff, so a lot of vintage old equipment. And yeah, really, really impressive type stuff. So, you know, if you need some interesting, you know, vintage old hi-fi or tape gear or something like that, you know, Tokyo Audio, you can find him on Instagram and stuff like that. Also the website too, and yeah, check him out. There we go. Where is it? I'll go over to here. That one there. There we go. No. Where is it? Where's the thing? Let's go to the, where is it? That one there, there we go. I want to go to that one there, that one there. Come on, there we go. Sweet. That's the one. So yeah, so if you want some really cool, interesting bits of kit, check out his store as well. Just linked it there in the chat. So tokyoaudio.store. Like, just looking on here at the moment, it's like, man, what have we got in here thus far? Old school mics. So this is old school Iowa vintage ribbon mic, which is sick. Pair of Sony ECM23s, nice. That is always good stuff. Korg Delta, ooh, that's tasty. I got the brother of that, the Lambda as well. You know, open reel tape machines, some nice TX, nice Tascam. Oh, that's some good stuff, man. But yeah, check it out if you want some interesting stuff. Does some good shit. So that's why you need someone to help you list things up to get it out there quick. But even then, you know, as long as the good stuff is always going to go, because there's always going to be people looking out for the good stuff. And you do get a lot of really interesting stuff from the suppliers. You get some really cool things. Me, I get the more sort of mundane type stuff, but, you know, hopefully that will start changing. You know, get some more interesting bits and pieces, sell some cool stuff, get more of the high-end, interesting second-hand stuff. Oh, there we go. Cool. Sweet. Yeah. Look at that. We smashed. Absolutely smashed into pieces. Bam. No wonder it doesn't work. That one there's for the customer. Okay, so we're all good there. Cool, that's all sealed in place. In like so, in like click, thank you. What interesting stuff do I actually have coming up for sale? I've got a Charville Model 7, so that was the, they did way back in the day. That was a Telecaster with a reverse headstock Jackson style neck. So that one will be coming out soon, which is good stuff. Ibanez SR1205 5-string premium bass. An Orville Les Paul that I've got to finish cutting a new nut for, because it has one that is not ideal. Not great, so get rid of that, put a proper one in there. Yeah. You're all wrong about this, because, you know, I've got this photo here, look at these ones here, it looks like this inside. Yes, it looks identical. That is the problem. Oh, okay, there we go. Keys and screws and parts galore. I mean, if you spent that much money on something, you'd probably want to convince yourself that it was, it wasn't all for naught. It's that whole thing. When someone has conviction in their beliefs and you challenge it, they're going to grip onto them harder. It is an undeniable fact for many, many people. So even if you present them with the evidence, they don't want to listen. So we just mainly do it now for fun. And for people who, before they buy them, prevent that from happening. Don't buy this instead. It's actually a good series to do, Instead of this, why not this? Scrooge my driver. There we go. Why am I getting messages? Who's messaging me? Yes, the other Brad, the lesser Brad, I like to think. Yeah, look, some of those Chinese-made instruments are phenomenal. Like, seriously, you get them and you're like, how do they make them this good for this price point? It's insane. Others are complete and utter dog turds. That's the reality of it. Some of the pickups are brilliant. For example, Tone Rider pickups made in China. You get a set of Strat pickups for like $160 Australian, and they sound sick. Like their Alnico 8 humbucker that they do, it's brilliant. You don't have to spend big money to make them sound good. And some of those small Chinese factories that do like the custom things and that, or you can just get good quality stuff, they sound killer. As with anything, take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, there's an Aussie luthier who got into an argument with me once on a post about how Gibson SGs are so susceptible to breaking. So they get, obviously you look at them the wrong way and they'll break at the heel or they'll break at the headstock. And he started spouting things about, it won't break if you use this type of wood and do this way. And it's like, dude, it's still just a fault line. That's it. You've got exposed end grain. You can reduce it slightly, but a 17-degree angled headstock is going to break. And having this little teeny tiny patch of wood like that, holding all of that tension on the neck, and you knock it a little bit, it's going to tear out of there. It's just what's going to happen. And yeah, he kept on kind of going on about that, and then through, Joe Bonamassa owns one of my guitars. Mate, Joe Bonamassa owns 10 of everything because he wants to make more money from the guitar collection he inherited from his father. That's it. Yeah. Oh yes, because we're totally a quarter saw neck on an SG will make it so much more rigid. They're not going to break and snap. It'll go from like a 99% chance of breaking if it drops to like a 97% chance. As they say, opinions are like houses. Some people's are just worth more, and other people have really big garish ones. All right, go there now. Okay, let's put this thing back together and give it a testing. Yeah. So Temu is basically Wish on speed. It's even worse. It's basically Wish meets TikTok. So what the whole point in it is not so much targeting products to you that you've looked at and doing stuff like that. It's what they do is it's much like TikTok and similar systems, that it feeds you up products from the algorithm, and it's trying to make you buy more stuff. So it's basically wrong way around. It's trying to get you to buy things you wouldn't normally buy by showing them to you on your home feed. It's like, you're this kind of person and that. How about this product? How about that product? How about this random piece of junk that you don't need? How about, a $3.55 Willy warmer? How about, I don't know, some random, kitsch knick-knack that you'll have for like 3 seconds and then throw it out, creating more landfill and more problems for the world? It's not ideal, unfortunately. Certainly not my preferred way of buying things, but that is me. But yes, Joe Bonamassa used them for a certain period of time, and that was it, blew them up, but nobody ever hears about that one. It's like years ago, there was a company called Strictly 7 Guitars, right? anyone who's a metalhead like me who was in the forums back in the days when everything was all about the fly-by-night luthiers who stopped existing immediately after they took a bunch of people's money. So you had stuff like DAR amps doing the Future Breed machine, Meshuggah signature that made like 4 of them and then disappeared. There was strictly 7 guitars. Before Ola England had solar guitars and before Keith Merrow had his signature model with Schecter, they were both endorsed with S7G, as they call themselves. Now, suddenly they both stopped having signature models around a similar sort of point. What was happening with the companies, you can actually still find the post online. It's on Facebook, right? One of the prime ones was of Keith Merrow going, I can't endorse this company anymore because look at this, and then proceeded to pull the frets out of his guitar with his fingers because they just fell right out. The quality went absolutely horrid. They pretty much almost destroyed the company at that point, but people still bought them because of the association with Ola and Keith. And it's like that with a lot of other companies. So you had guys like Periphery that, I don't like their music and that, and their products have no interest to me, but as far as business people goes, they were the smart ones who got in on this whole thing and created a way of making money out of music. They don't make anything out of their recordings because no one cares, but clinics, sponsorship deals, through all that kind of stuff, and they were doing that, and there was a new guitar in their hands almost every week. So a lot of these fly-by-night luthiers up and disappeared, and that's how it went around. It's the same with the old guys, Joe Bonamassa once touched this piece of equipment and they walked past it one time. He sneezed near it. Oh, now it's worth something. Or guys who are like, I need to get this signature model from this guitarist and that. Like Steve Stevens, prime example. Steve Stevens, man, look at the gear he was using in the 80s. Way different than what he's using now. But people want to buy the new things. Doug Aldrich. You want Doug Aldrich tone? Well, a lot of people know him of his days with Whitesnake, and when he did the Transformers theme with Lion, he actually had a signature Jackson guitar in Japan that eventually became the Caparison Dellinger, one of those, you can call it whatever. So that was how that kind of worked. But, what can you say to guitarists, really? They, do their thing. I'm not sure it's true about the algorithm. Temu's suggesting me how to buy a guitar amp that makes me last longer in bed. I don't know, if I bought some of those products, I'd probably be in bed longer too, but mainly just could be laying there crying. With Temu, I just need to stuff in the cart until the price drops in half or more. I needed 30 guitar hangers, finally dropped to $3 each. Yeah. See, with stuff like that, I just jump onto, if I have to, I just go onto like AliExpress or Alibaba and contact factories directly. I go, yep, cool, thank you, hook me up. What do you got? There we go. That one, and this one goes here. Come on, in you go. Go. There we go. Sweet. Get in there. Alright, so that's there. Let's put these speakers in. Let's give them a quick brush. A lot of dust. That one there too. There we go. Okay. That one plugs into there like so. I do like the envelope design of these. They're just easy to work on. They're simple. Cool. Let's zoom out a bit wider. Be wider like wider. I need a 2.1mm barrel, which is this jobber here. 12 volt center positive. There and there, like so. Power on. What am I running? 9, I need 12. 12, good enough. Good. Power. Here we go. Go. Sweet. Alright, let's see how we go now. there's a key there that I haven't put the WotC down properly, so it's not sitting right. Damn it! It's all good. It's all good. At least I know what is going on. We are. Flippy flip flip. Axle. I got burned by AliExpress. Had customer and what? I got burned by AliExpress. Had customers and Gibson hate mailing me for a generic V guitar. Do tell. I'd love some Gibson hate mail personally. I'm hoping to see one of the new Gibson amps at some point, but the chance of them arriving in Australia at any point before the heat death of the universe is pretty low. I'd like to see one, crack it open and take a look inside. Just because, you know, hate boner for Gibson and all that, as us techs are known for having. Do. That's one, and this one. Here we go. Okay. Come on. Here you come. I said come on. I said up in. Yep. Oh, I'm out. Duh. So you flick some shots. How does it look? Is it just? So it's just a Mesa. It's just a Mesa with a Gibson logo, right? I mean, I wasn't expecting anything much more beyond that, but you know, but. Yeah, how to goof that up? I don't think Mesa use Vactrols in the modern amps these days. I think most all of them are relays with with ducking FETs. There it is. I mean, not the Vactrols are a bad thing. The problem is when they use them in the quantity and the way that they did, stacked one on top of each other like a really, really bad orgy. It's not how it should be done. And then, of course, you got ones where the Vactrols haven't been available for years. Like the the Triaxis, the first gen version of them. Problem is with those, you can't get them. And in my case, I've got a Duvlak, Brainwork, Neutron 3 envelope follower that I've been searching around for over a year now to find a Vactrol for it, because it uses a dual one that's also used in the Mesa Triaxis, the first gen version. And yeah, nobody has them in stock anymore. They are all gone, and when they do pop up, they get picked up by the Mesa fanboys, because of course they do. They want to keep them running. And yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out. I'll probably have to figure out a way just to make one myself, because it's a dual LDR with single LED feeding them in there. If I can because it's epoxy. They made them themselves. If I can de-epoxify it and remove the old LED, I might be able to repair it. Well, you have those weird 2-to-1 Vactrols. Because I've been looking for one for like last 15 months. Bloody awful things. Because it's very a Neutron envelope follower that needs one. Because it's got the LDRs that are controlling 2 parts of the circuit simultaneously. No, they don't. They don't make that one. I checked. Because yeah, all the other common ones are out there, but the ones that have the 2 LDRs with the single LED on there, they do not have. Not unless they've changed that in the last couple of months or so, because I haven't looked in the last while. I've got some saved searches to try and find them online, but they haven't come up yet. Because the later Triaxis used the standard Vactrols. but the early ones with the quote unquote recto board used the weird jewel type ones. Let me check what the opto is. All right, where is it? We're on 3. Where is it? Yes, 0802. I know that one there. There we go. Musitronics part number 0805A is listed in the parts as P873-13, made by Hamamatsu Corporation. Mesa had them, which were originally the P873-13. Yep. So they were the P873-13 ones, right? So they were these ones. Yeah, so I'm not a complete idiot. This is what's problematic. So these were the ones that were used in the original rectos because they did two things simultaneously off of one signal. The way you can get around it. You can get around it by either repairing the one that I had, because the one that I had was actually one of the early handmade ones. So it's like a grey plastic tube with an LED and 2 LDRs inside of there covered in epoxy. I might be able to drill out the old LED and replace it. So 2 independent LDRs with 4 legs, so they're not sharing a common leg. The one that shares the common leg with the 3 pins, you can still get. The one that does not, you can't. That's the problem. But yeah, I might be able to repair this LDR. I'm going to have to basically grind it out with the Dremel and try and sort it that way. Alternatively, I'll have to try and make one myself. If I can profile the LDRs that are in there, I might be able to manufacture one and make it. Could probably sell them for a bit of money, because when these things do pop up, they're like $50 to $100 a piece, because they're used in the Mutron pedals, but they were also used in those stupid bloody versions of the Mesa amps as well. Jerry, gentlemen, absolute gentleman and scholar, thank you. It is my day off. Have a beer. I mean, I will probably have a beer. I might actually leave early today because the missus does have a day off and that. But yeah, it's just a case of just trying to deal with the whole cash flow thing and all the rest of that. A drinking straw and a bit of setting resin. Because the problem is these are actually a bit chunkier. But I've also got to check what because these are very dependent on the sweep. So I've got to check what the LED type is in it, because it was from the 70s. So they've obviously a really crap one. I've got to see what the value of the LDRs are under those things. I've got to check the performance curves on them. But even then, there's a trim pot on there to be able to dial it in. But with the Mutrons, you want to get them really there, so they do that real sort of classic porno type sweep. Okay, so we should be good on that now. If we put this back in, now I can check that key. I should have touch sensitivity. Touch sensitivity, there we go. Other way around. Get in there. So yes, I got about 10 minutes left before the rep comes along. Rep from the company from which have bought up all of the large retailers and other distributors, meaning that we're heading towards a monopolistic collapse at some point, I would assume. All right, let's check from up here. There we go. Yep. I'm down with the hip hop generation. Actually, I really was into hip hop. Because when I was younger and that, my mother married a Samoan when I was a kid, so of course I was there was a lot of sort of like black American culture that obviously came with having a black father. And so things like rap and old R&B and Motown and soul and that were very much a part of sort of my musical experience growing up. And then in New Zealand, going to high school there for 3 years, resulted in me hanging around with a bunch of Māori and Islander fellas and getting into lots of rap and lots of stuff like that. And and then I ended up getting into metal when I was like 13 years old and absolutely stoned off my tits with my mate. And he was a Māori boy who could play guitar like a madman, so he was like one of the reasons why I wanted to play. And we were sitting there, so he's like, dude, check the song out. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, man, what is this? This is like awesome. He's like, this is Metallica. I'm like, no way, man. I thought it was like totally like, like evil, crazy music. It's like, nah, man, he was playing Nothing Else Matters. And then that was how I actually got into metal. So from there, I checked out the Black Album, listed it from him there, copied it off of his a cassette, and then there was someone who was living with a family who was like a boarder, named Glenn. He had a copy of Metallica's Master of Puppets that he let me borrow, so I got to listen to Master of Puppets and got into more of that kind of stuff, and it kind of expanded and went onwards and onwards and onwards from there, and eventually I looped back around, so it wasn't just about metal, and I got into various things when I started doing like session work and various bits and pieces, and now in the last 6 months or so, I really started getting into folk music, like old 60s and 70s stuff. I found this, of course, being a weeb, I found an old Japanese folk artist, and she had this album called Tobimas that was amazing, like just real sort of down, soulful kind of like stuff. Wonderful. So, I in other words, I listened to a lot of music, a lot of music. Played with a bunch of people, done various things. I need to kind of wake my ass up and get back into playing music. Having the YouTube channel, I can do demos and show things that, and hopefully find another band again. I wouldn't mind going and doing another tour. It'd be good fun. I miss playing. Miss getting up on stage and doing that. Now I'm an old fart, so now I'm playing like with a bunch of old farts and bang my head, wake up the next morning and go, my head hurts. Metallica, Master of Puppets, on acid at the beach. That would have been a trip. I don't actually do any, I don't, well, actually I lie. I did when I was a young teenager, but I haven't done any drugs or anything since I was 15, so, I'll have to imagine what that was like. Although I can't imagine sand and acid would have been a really good combination had your mind not been in the very right spot. It's like, no, those are not ants. No, it's not crawling inside of you. Yes, it feels weird. It's all right, just look at the sky. Turn the hamster down. It's ruining my sandwich. It's melting green. Big bonfire. That is the thing that's like over in the US and stuff, isn't it? Like you got those like out of the beach and you got a bonfire thing. You don't really have that here in Australia. You kind of do in some places, but not generally. It's like you're not going to go down on Bondi Beach and set a bonfire because then all the Irish tourists will be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Ooh, I swore on stream. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to. Oh, there we go. Come on. Oh, sweet. Nice, that's 2 repairs done for the morning. Oh, come on, in we go. Get in there. Oh, there we go. Come here, come on. There we go. Oh, that one there. Velcro getting caught on everything. Sorted on that. So that one can now go back into the shelf. Come on. Tight squeeze. Tight squeeze. Sinks in. There we go. Oh, man. Woo. Do. Rock and roll. So yeah, so now I get to wait for the rep. She should hopefully be here in the next 10 minutes, but you know, I never trust reps when they'll say they'll be here at this point, because they never are. So yeah, have a couple of minutes to just sort of chit chat and all that kind of stuff, because why not? The next repairs are going to be a little bit more complex, so I'm going to get started on that. Although I do have something kind of interesting that I'm going to do a bit of major repair on, which I might do a video on it, depending. Oh dear Lord, this is huge. All right, get that out of the way over there. Old school logo, very old. So those of you who are familiar with your history will probably know roughly what era this is from. And now, if that's going to go there and there and there, crack it open. Look at that. Yes, that is 3 P90s. There we go. There we go. Block that up a little bit. Yeah, so this is a Gibson Explorer 90 from 1982. It's been given a fret dress by someone else apparently after the guys bought it, and they didn't do a good job. It's like railroad ties on top, and then this guy has done it himself as well. Says, oh, it's fine, but there's like a hump in the neck and it still buzzes out, and yeah, it's not been done up to the sort of same standard that one would hope for on something like this. Frets, there's nothing left of them. The nut is balked. So we're going to be yoinking the frets out of this thing, putting in some new ones, doing a proper setup on it and likes, and making it do the thing. I love it how it's got, like, you know, 2 switches. Who needs like the third control there? You just have an extra switch. Which is brilliant. Is there any hum cancelling? I don't think so. I think this was also at the time when Gibson just had excess stock of P90s, so they were throwing them in everything. It's just like, they're going to throw them in there. Three of them in there. If they could have fit 4, I mean, they probably could. If they could have done it in some way, they would have fit more in there. But this was back in the day before companies like put in a real cognizant effort to actually put in like a reverse wound, reverse polarity in the middle section. So some of the only companies that really kind of thought about that were Fender, and they only did it with the jazz bass because there was 2 distinct pickups. One was wider than the other. The Stratocaster was wound with just 3 pickups are identical, so you just pick up 3 off the line and put them in the guitar. The Telecaster had 2 distinct pickups, but they didn't have reverse wind polarity because they didn't need to, because the Telecaster didn't get 3-way switching until like the 70s or something. Basically, the way the Telecaster worked originally was bridge pickup was bridge mode. In the middle selection, it was the neck pickup. Flick it up further one more, and you ended up with neck pickup with a treble bleed capacitor on it, making the bass switch. So, yeah. What bridge is that? It's an old Kahler. I don't understand the hate for Kahler. Yes, they are a bit over-engineered, and there's a lot of components to them. But they work well. You know, good quality cam system, as long as they're locked and all the rest of that. They feel kind of cool. They work well. The bridge I'm not a fan of, however, is an Evertune. Even though I'm a metal player, I don't like them. Overly complex, too much going on. There's no point, you know. Use a good locking system. Swings around about, it's not really going to move anywhere. Evertunes and that are... It's just basically 6 Floyd Roses in a guitar balancing. But the problem with that as well is you've got 6 of them that are floating. They're actually not fully anchored to the body. So they're literally like held together with a comb. So you've got like a ginormous brain work. A ginormous like vibration reduction mechanism, that kind of thing. It's a dampener. There we go. Yeah, so there's not really any sort of transference through. Got to have a Kahler and a G&L Rampage, correct. Although actually, there is a guy who's currently trying to sell a Jerry Cantrell, the pinup girl one, custom shop one, for like $45,000 on Reverb. It's like, telling he's dreaming. But yeah, like the Kalas aren't that bad of a bridge. I actually quite like their the flat mount ones that just the fixed bridges. So for example, they were the bridges found on the Jackson KE1 Marty Fredman signature. They were cool. Yeah, I like them because you had to fine tune and all the rest of that, lock it up top. You had a set bridge. Sweet. Yeah, I like locking bridges. I like locking trems, that kind of thing. Most of my guitars have them. If not, they've got a tunematic, except for some of my weird ones like Telecasters and stuff like that. I actually have a bunch of my guitars here that I've got to sort out and prep them and figure out what I'm doing with them. I don't need quite so many anymore. Although I do have just put up one of mine for sale, which was a Ibanez Prestige Apex 100, so the Monkey signature, which is like a vintage Strat meets a Universe. I love them, they're brilliant. So you got an Alder body with a sunburst finish, 7-string, with a unit with a Blaze neck, a Blaze single coil in the neck, and a Blaze neck pickup in the bridge. But it sounds sick. It worked well because I used to do a Korn cover show with some guys from bands like, you know, if you're an Aussie of a certain age, you'll know of bands like Jerk. You know, he was in one of the guys from that was in there. Then there was also some dudes from some local Australian bands that are still kicking on, so it was good. Yeah, I'd say I'm about done with my rants and all the rest of that, so I'm going to pack it up. Yeah, I'll probably be back, obviously, on Monday and Tuesday. I think I'm just going to do the Monday and Tuesday streams just for the hell of it, because it's fun. But I might do something over the weekend too, depends. I'm thinking about doing something a little bit different as well, like not just the repair side of things, but like just a, you know, kind of like some interesting, so like talks about stuff, just like history type things, or interesting bits of facts that aren't normally out there. A little bit more off the cuff than, say, for example, like doing a full produced video, like doing the one that I'm doing, which is a brief history of anime tie-in instruments, which is going to be interesting. Yeah, doing stuff like that. We've got the Fender Blues Junior comparison video that I got to do. Ow, I'm through. Got, what else have we got? Got like 3 others currently in the works, but something is just a bit more, just about talking and things that interest me, with a little bit of preparation and some screen sharing. I got to finish doing up the proper setups on this. I got to bring my stream deck and other things here into the shop, so I'm sorted. But thank you muchly once again. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button and hit subscribe. Do all the rest of that. Leave a comment, even if you come back and look at it afterwards and just go, that was cool, or that sucked. YouTube, and you know, we must praise the almighty algorithm and bend the knee in order to have it, you know, serve up the good stuff. So until I do this again,